Everybody, it is, I got to tell you, I have not been more excited. Everybody who watched the first live stream, Hannah, like, there were a lot of people that watched that.
It was really exciting.
Yeah, it was really exciting, but we fixed a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then we found a guest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's shocking that somebody would come on here with us,
It
but
is shocking.
but we're all in. So I'm Cigar Don Williams. This is the Rojo Corojo sitting across from me. If you're logging in, thank you so much. The guest tonight, I'm telling you, is going to be so fantastic. I'll give it a second before I introduce him, but please tonight be very engaged. If you've got questions, we're going to do our best to track those and make those questions available to Zaya, Younan, CEO of the Younan companies. We'll get into what that is and how that affects us, but he is the brand owner of El Septimo Cigars, Geneva, and a partner with us for our El Septimo Lounge in Eagle, Idaho, and we'll get into a little bit of that tonight. But I guess without Hannah, what are we smoking tonight? First of all, what are you enjoying?
I'm smoking the El Septimo. Sorry, excuse me. I'm smoking the Coco Robusto.
Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous. I actually have the Sable Shamash, and I'm telling
that's a good one,
girl. So I was in the lounge last night. I lit this up, and then I was like, well, I got to smoke it back to back. It was too tasty. And by the way, what are we drinking tonight? Because I'm really excited about this.
None other than the El Septimo
cognac. Yeah, and
we killed the bottle. So
we did kill the bottle. So if we're a little saucy tonight, that's what happened here. But we'll be enjoying the cognac.
Yeah.
Look, we're wasting a lot of time here. Let's get the man on the line here. Without further ado, Zaya, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. So nice to be here. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Josh. Appreciate that, Hannah. Nice to see you guys.
Good to see you too.
So Zaya, what are you smoking tonight? We gotta find out what you're dealing with.
I am smoking 2 cigars. These days, I have learned the habit of smoking 2 cigars at the same time. So I'm smoking Napoleon as the Emperor Collection, and is a Royal Salomon, 9.5 inches long. And I'm smoking the 2 cigars, the Maduro and the Connecticut. They're totally different blend, totally different taste. And I like to go back and forth between the 2 cigars.
Now, wait a second. All right.
It's like a cigar flight.
It's a flight of cigars. So Zaya, I had heard that you smoke 2 or 3 cigars at a time. Why do we do that? Like I'll do it when I'm doing little comparisons, but you do it as a regular course of business. Why is that?
Well, I'm 60 years old and I've been smoking cigar for 30 some years, right? Initially, I started smoking 3 cigars a week. Then I started smoking 10 cigars a week, then 2 cigars a day, then 10 cigars a day. So where do you go from there, right? After 10 cigars a day, right? I want to have more of it. So then I learned to smoke 2, 3 cigars at the same time. Sometimes what I do on the weekend, I light up 4 cigars and I go back and forth smoking each one of them. And it's funny, when you smoke 4 cigars, they're so different. One of the unique things about El Septimo is we have 44 different blends, and each one is totally different. When you smoke the cigar, you can tell a difference. And by smoking 4 cigars at the same time, you feel like you're tasting best of the 4 different worlds at the same time. So it is an unbelievable experience that I strongly recommend people start doing and see how do they like it.
So Zaya, tell me something. So I noticed that, and there's a couple manufacturers that do this. I love the fact that you do it, but you don't come out with a blend and then have 5 sizes, 7 sizes of that blend.
Not. Yeah, absolutely not.
So why that single expression of that blend?
Right. Well, for a lot of reasons. El Septimo has more different blend in our collection today than 3 of the top largest cigar maker in the world. We have 44 different blends. Each cigar has to be different. A lot of people take the same cigar and they just put a different label to it. What we do, we start from the scratch. We create a complete new brand with its own character, with its own taste, with its own configuration, with its own strength. So people don't get tired of smoking the same thing every day.
Wonderful, wonderful. I guess let's start at the beginning, right?
Yeah, I guess to understand how we got here, we have to start in the beginning. So I just wanted to ask, like, what did you major in college? Where was your head at when you were diving into adulthood?
Well, it's funny thing is, I study engineering, and I graduated engineering at age of 19 from University of Illinois Champaign-Urbana, which is outside of Illinois.
Wow.
And soon as I finished studying engineering, I was recruited by General Motors. My first job was with General Motors, designing advanced vehicles. And back then, a few years later, my group invented an airbag in 1985. We invented an airbag, a driver's side airbag, and then later
Nice.
driver and passenger side airbag. And so all my life, most of my life, I developed advanced technology, advanced equipment, airbag, keyless entry systems, variable temperature seat, PDS, park distance control, navigation system, voice interactive system that you can, with voice, command the vehicle, turn on the radio, turn off the radio, or turn on the navigation system. Those were just some of the technology that we developed over the years. And
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, so as an engineer, huh? How about that?
As an engineer, I love it, love it, love it, love it. So how does that background, and we can dive into a little bit of the Younan companies, but how does the background in engineering, how does that enable you to be a great cigar company owner, brand
Yeah.
owner?
Yeah, well, I think to be a great cigar company owner, it needs to start by having a great product, right? At the end of the day,
And
yes, at the end of the day, you can market as much as you can. You can come with pretty boxes, pretty labels, call them different names, call them special series this, special series that. At the end, if they don't taste good, people are not going to be attracted to it. Funny thing is, 20 years ago, the taste was not that developed. Distinguish of the taste was not that developed in America. But thanks to so many young people learning to smoke cigar and loving smoking cigar, intelligent young kid, and through internet and through education, self-education, I have learned American are some of the most sophisticated cigar smokers in the world today. They have developed the taste buds, they have developed the differentiation, they know how to smoke it, they know how to differentiate it, they know how to taste it. And this is something that has happened recently. And because of that, you have to develop product that interests them. You want somebody to smoke a cigar and go back, smoke it again and again. At the same time, you want them to be appreciative of a certain blend that gives them a variety to smoke. Otherwise, if you smoke the same cigars over and over again, obviously you get bored of it. So we spend a lot of times on development. Now, remember something: cigar industry is new to me. I've been involved in it for 3 years, but I've been professional farmer for 33 years. Because 33 years ago, I got into precision farming, making liquor, making wine, making cognac, making vodka, planting fruits, because we have different companies. Younan Company is a $6 billion private equity firms, and we have 57 different companies in different industries, cigars just being one of them, and being the smallest of all, believe it or not. Right. So I know a lot about soil. I know a lot about planning. I know a lot about fermentation. Fermentation initially was invented 5,000 years ago, fermenting grapes to make wine. So we have mastered that because we are one of the largest winemaker in France. So we know how to ferment things. So if you know how to ferment the fruit, you know how to ferment the tobacco leaf, and you know how to blend it, and you know how to stabilize it, and you know how to design it that basically you have transition and you have taste. A lot of cigars you smoke today, they all taste alike. And when you light a cigar, it tastes the same from beginning all the way to the end. And we feel that's the flaw in the product. That's why all of our cigars have anywhere from 3 to 5 transition in single stick. And that's why every one of our cigar has completely, totally different brand. Even if you compare the 2 Napoleon, one with Maduro, one with Connecticut, that are same collection, they have a completely different ingredient, completely different wrapper, different binder, and different fillers.
I didn't know about your farming background, but it makes complete sense now. Like, one of the things when I got involved, my first trip to Nicaragua was long before we opened the Vault Lounge originally in 2017. I think it was 2015. I'd gone down to Nicaragua, and what really shocked me was I was expecting to see, so as I met some of the owners of different brands there, that, you know, they'd be executives, they'd be sitting in their office in front of a computer. They're all farmers. Like they all have such a passion for the soil. They talk like you do, the passion for the soil, the passion for the leaf, you know, sitting there looking at those bales, the pilons, you know, working through the material, trying to understand what the nuance is that's happening. And it was those manufacturers that are the ones that I love smoking, because they just care. They're not marketing companies that throw a wrapper on some, you know, cured tobacco leaves and hope to sell it. They really care about a smoking experience. I know the first time I enjoyed your cigar 2 years ago at the show.
Josh, the most important element of cigar making, or any other product that is planted, is soil.
Yeah,
we spend more time making sure our soil is regenerating, because the soil, theoretically, if you keep planting on it, in about 500 years, it depends, but an average in 500 years, it loses all its properties. Because all of the property of soil, the magnesium, the fiber, the iron, the calcium, it gets absorbed by the plant, and the soil becomes technically without any benefit, right? So we were one of the first companies about 30 years ago that developed algae, that we plant these algae under the ground in the soil, sometimes 100 to 300 feet below the ground, in order for algae to continuously rejuvenate the soil with minerals. This is why you see cigars have different color ashes, right? A typical cigar that has dark ashes is a cigar that has a richer tobacco, because minerals, magnesium, fiber, phosphorus, iron, because they're minerals, they don't burn, they leave the black deposit. And the more of the minerals you have in tobacco, the richer the taste and the flavors are.
So so I love your background in farming. What led you to buy El Septimo 3 years ago and actually get into the business?
You know, we have a big division in oil and gas business. We build platforms, offshore platforms. We are the 5th largest offshore platform builder. And we were building a large amount of platforms in Gulf of Persian Gulf and in Middle East. And it was for Saudi Arabia to start exploring oil from the water. And on the last night, after we finished, I was invited by former king of Saudi Arabia, Abdullah, and we had dinner together. And then he offered me a cigars. And it was funny, we had dinners. They brought a big tray of cigars. They were full of cigars, and every stick was as like a stick that I've never seen in my life. Short, fat, long, dark, rich Maduro wrapper that was really shiny. It looked like literally like a chocolate tray of chocolate. So I said to myself, I don't know what this is. I never saw a cigar like this. Now remember, I've been smoking by that time close to 30 some years cigars, right? And I picked one, and the first cigar that I ever, all of them were El Septimo, because El Septimo used to be called Cigar of the Kings, because it was only produced on a limited edition, 50,000 sticks a year only for the royal family of Middle East and Europe.
Oh, wow.
So it used to be called Cigar of the Kings. And the first cigar I picked, which was El Septimo, was double shot and 68 rings, short cigars. And I was talking, you know, I'm sitting across from the king, so we're having a great conversation. And somebody tapped me on my shoulder. He said, Mr. Younan, you've been smoking 45 minutes and not answering the king's question. I was completely mesmerized with the taste of the cigars. And I remember that evening when I went to my room, I took more cigars with me, and I was smoking them all night to 7 in the morning because I couldn't get enough of their taste. It was something very unique to me, because usually when you smoke cigars, they kind of all fall in the kind of similar category. These cigars were totally out of the field, you know, and nothing like it I ever smoked in my life. And I have smoked every kind of cigar ever existed, right? I used to go to Cuba a lot because we used to do a lot of business down there, a nonprofit business out there. We built a lot of schools, a lot of churches. So I used to always smoke Cuban cigars, right? So I smoked everything. And I became so fascinated by it that I approached the company to buy some for my daily consumption. They wouldn't sell it to me because I wasn't king. They said, I remember the first time when I called, I said, I want to buy some El Septimo. Here's my credit card. They said, are you a king? I said, no, I'm not a king. And they hang up on me. And eventually I met the CEO, and I convinced him he couldn't produce more cigar because it was very difficult to get the aged tobacco, the proper tobacco. So after 2 years of talking to him, eventually I convinced him 3 years ago to sell me the company. And the first thing we did when we bought the company, we invested over $100 million over plantation, factory, blending, cultivating, rejuvenating the soil. And we're talking about close to 200,000 tons of soil that you have to rejuvenate. And then about 2 years ago, we brought it to the United States. And today is the fastest growing premium cigar brand in the entire country, which is considered Rolls Royce of the industry.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I know that when I first met, and I actually didn't meet you. I don't think we met 2 years ago at PCA. Chip had brought our general manager, Hannah's husband, over to the El Septimo lounge. I think it was the last day of the show 2 years ago, and Chip had given us a couple cigars to smoke. And I remember I sat down, I was smoking with Chip, and then Chip looked at me and he's like, well, what do you think? I said, this cigar is unbelievable. Like, it is so rich. There are so many like nuances that are happening. Like, where is he getting his tobacco? Like where's it? Because they're at least with some parts of Nicaragua and everything, you kind of know who's growing the tobacco and who's rolling for who and everything. I said, so where's this tobacco coming from? And Chip's like, well, I can't tell you. I said, come on, Chip. Like, I'm a retailer. Like, let's have the conversation. If I have to sign the NDA, that's fine. He's like, Josh, just know that the products are fantastic and your consumers are going to love it. And
Chip doesn't even know.
Chip doesn't even know. No, that's what I found out. So we were.
It's a
He was
secret.
trying to act like he was gatekeeping.
Yeah. So we have this.
So let me tell you a secret. Let me tell
I'm
you a
ready.
few of the secrets.
I want to hear a secret.
I want to tell you a few of the secrets.
Watching this, I'm ready.
I want to tell you a few of the secret that is unknown to the industry. Davidoff of the world, Padron of the world, Fonte of the world, General Cigar of the world don't know about it. We learned a long time ago when we were making wine. This is why so much Bordeaux wine is so popular, right? We learned that we could take a grape from one region and try to make a wine from it. We are limited because of characteristic of the grape. We are limited in how many different elements of taste we can introduce into the wine. So we learned that from a long time ago, that this is why Bordeaux wine, old world wine, is so popular and so famous, that if we take different grapes from different region and mix them together, right? And it's very difficult job because mixing different grapes is very difficult because sometimes they're not cohesive. They don't work with each other very well. So you have to be a very good blender and you have to have a lot of techniques to stabilize it. Today, unfortunately, most of the cigars in the world are made in one region tobacco only, right? Either they are Nicaraguan or either Dominican Republic or the combination of the two. In the cigars you guys smoking, in one cigar that you are smoking, the cigar comes from 5 different countries. 5 different countries. We take the best tobacco, is el Lenjero, Hocico, Logazo. We take the best tobacco from each country and we blend them together. So they're not parallel. A lot of cigar companies in the world, like, for example, Padron come from one region, Fonte comes from one region, Davidoff comes mostly from Dominican Republic. Our cigars take the best tobacco from any of the major countries that have volcanic soil, and then we blend them together. The reason we age them so long, not only to create a taste, but also the longer we age them, the more time we have to make sure all the different tobaccos from different countries go together well and stabilize together well. That's why a Bordeaux wine, you can't drink it in 1 or 2 years. You have to wait a minimum of 3 years. Where if you buy a Cabernet Sauvignon from Napa, you can drink it 1 year after it's bottled.
Yeah, I can tell you, I'm not drinking. I think the newest Bordeaux's I'm drinking out of my cellar right now are 2012, maybe. Like, I like to let them rest. I finally, Zaya, and this is going to tell you what a big rookie I am. I had never drank a bottle of wine that was older than me until my 50th birthday. So I talked to my broker in California. He found a bottle of Latif that was 1970, and I said, perfect. I was born in 73. My wife was born in 71. Shipped me the bottle. I had it down in my cellar, and my wife and I were getting ready to. We went on vacation, and we were going to pack that bottle for drinking on my actual birthday. And as my wife was grabbing it, we were flying out the next day. There was a little bit of wine that was coming out of the very top of the bottle, and I freaked out. I'm like, it's vinegar. Like I lost it. I should have.
Actually, when the wine comes out of the cork,
Yeah.
it means it's pushing the air out.
Oh,
So
is
it's
it?
not
Okay,
a
so
vinegar.
that's what a rookie I am. So I got panicked. So I was like, oh, we're gonna open the bottle right now. So it took me that cork came out in two pieces, like, and I went very, very slow. Got the cork out, decanted it. I will tell you, Zaya, that was the best bottle of wine. It was stunning. And but yeah, so I finally could say that I drank a bottle that was older than me. So yeah, love it. Hey, so Hannah, you had a question about like a new blend. Like what I guess what's the challenges with creating a new blend? Like you did the Sacred Arts series leading into the show last year. What goes into that process when you want to create another line for El Septimo?
Usually, with other companies, when they create a blend, they go pick up a bunch of tobaccos, they lay them on top of each other. First, they smell them, and then they roll them, they smoke them, and they decide if it meets the requirement or not. We do it completely differently at El Septimo. When we get the tobacco, we genetically try to understand the tobacco to make sure genetically they go together very well, right? And after we determine that, and we can do that basically by chemical testing, right? And after we do that, then what we try to do, we try to blend them together, and we have two different kinds of blending technique that work side by side. One blending technique is strictly by the nose, no smoking. Means the blenders, there's 38 of them. All of these blenders, right? They never smoke. They never smoke in their life, but they have an unbelievable nose that they can differentiate the smells on a single leaf and together with many leaves with their nose. And then we have about 24 blenders that they blend with technique of smoking. And then these guys blend by their nose. The other guy blends by smoking. And then we compare the notes to see where there is a cohesive commonality. When we find that, that's the cigar that we say is a home run. This cigar is ready to be blended, aged, and then introduced into the market.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. So let's talk a little business, because I think it's fun to look at. I'm a retailer. You're a manufacturer. We're in this great relationship. In September last year, you had put out this goal of 30 El Septimo retail stores in the U.S., because I know you got stores around the world as well. What motivated that, and how is that coming along right now?
Josh, I've noticed. First of all, I have also 27 years of retail experience. I used to be executive vice president at Walmart many years ago, and I worked directly for Sam Walmart up to the time he died, and then I worked for his son. And so I have a lot of experience with retailing. I know how to open a retail. I know how to set up the POS. I know how to ignite the initial demand for the place, because when you create a new retail, new location, it takes time for traction to appear, right?
Sure.
I learned that in cigar industry, a lot of people like you who love smoking cigar, and you were successful businessman doing something else. At a certain point, you said, you know what? I'm going to follow my passion. I'm going to do something that I always wanted to do. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to sell my company, and I'm going to go open a cigar lounge or cigar retail place, right? And you go do it, right? And I noticed that looking at, I have seen over 3,000 retailers around the world, from Africa all the way to the United States. And I noticed there was a lot of component missing in there, right? In a display, another component that was basically disconnecting a product from the consumer. Okay, give you one example of it. When you go to the retail stores, average retail stores, all with they're proud of themselves saying, I carry 500 different brands of cigar. and they think that's good. Well, that's not good. That's very negative. Imagine when you go to the store to buy your soap, when you go to Ralph's, Gelson, any stores to buy your shampoo, your soap, you don't find they have displayed 500 different kinds of soap or 500 different kinds of shampoos. The reasons they don't do that is because they don't want to confuse the consumer as what to buy. Because remember, the sales usually happen in the first 20 seconds, right? After 20 seconds, the attention starts dropping. And if the guy walks in a humidor, he sees you have 500 different kinds of brands of cigars. He's confused as what he should get and what he should buy, right? And then he asks the salesperson to help him. But it is difficult for the salesperson to understand the detail of 500 different brands, right? And then the consumer gets disengaged. He says, you know what? It's okay. I'll come back again. Or you know what? Instead of buying a box, I'll just buy a few sticks, right? So we decided to work with our retailers and teach them how to be the best retailer. And we've been doing it, and we have some unbelievable success stories that we show this retailer how to do some things. 3 weeks later, his sales increased by 300%.
Wow.
Right? So when we said we're going to open 30 retailers, that's not necessarily means that it's going to be open by El Septimo. You open up, or you're about to open a beautiful lounge in Eagle, and you decide to name the lounge El Septimo Lounge. So we consider that one of the 30. So our first priority is to help our retailers to be successful. And if we feel that there is certain location that there is no retailer available, yet there is a demand for our product, at that time, we will go open our own retail store. But we prefer not to do it and support our retailers because our customers are retailers such as yourself.
Yeah, and we'll get to the opening of the vault at the end of this, but I'll tell you, we did open Tuesday night. We're going to do our grand opening with Zaya, but you mentioned Zaya, so I want to talk a little bit because I think there's probably going to end up being a retailer that watches this, and I just want to thank Zaya for how that all came about. Zaya and I sat down, and at that point last summer at the show, we just had the renderings from the design firm that had designed the new location. And Zaya picked up on it immediately that experience was a big thing and that was important to us. But immediately was bringing ideas. Like there was no grass growing under his feet as I was walking through the pictures, and this is what we're trying to accomplish here, and this is what we're doing with our humidor, and this is what we're doing with our bar. And as it led up to doing some of the finish work, Zaya and his team had reached out to us and said, Josh, artwork and imagery is so important in your lounge. What are you doing for that? And to be honest, we had done a kind of a showcase piece in one area, but didn't really have a plan. We were just busy trying to get a humidor to be humidified and a bar to be open. But Zaya had his design team design up all these original pieces that then we had printed up in Idaho and hung in the lounge. And so it really was, our product is better. Our Vault El Septimo Lounge and Eagle is better because of the relationship. And it was just so friendly. Like I really expected to be talking to a team of people, whether they were in Paris, LA, wherever. And it was just Zaya, Zaya. So thank you for taking
No, not a problem. In any retail store, either cigars also, the POS is very important, point of sale, display of the product. And we purchased 10 years ago one of the largest companies in the world, which is based in Paris, called MPA Creation, that does the POS for Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, Yves Saint Laurent, Coty, and all of the major display of the product. They design it because psychologically that is very powerful. That's how people decide if they want to buy something or not. So we have a lot of experience with that, and we're trying to teach our retailers how to utilize this experience. By the way, these are all free. We do it free for our retailers. We spend time free. We do the work for them free. We want them to be successful because if you are successful, we are successful.
Yeah.
Why is experience such an important thing for a retailer to consider? Like you and I have been in cigar lounges all over the world, and it is rare that retailers are focusing on experience. But I got it the first time I went in your booth 2 years ago at the PCA trade show, that there was something immersive. So why is that? Why should that be so important to retailers?
Well, in the same token, our booths, if you notice our booth for PCA, 2 years in the PCA, but being the first time in the United States, both years at PCA, our booth won the best design
Mm-hmm.
in a PCA. Best design. That means for the first time being there, this has never happened before, because we utilize that psychology of how to represent the product. You have to remember, the more product you carry in your store, the more expertise you need to have, because people come to your store, they're intelligent people, they know what they want to smoke, they know what they want to experience, and often they ask you. And if you make a wrong recommendation for them, then two things going to happen. Either they're turned off of the cigar, or they try to smoke less or never come back again to smoke again.
Mm-hmm.
So the more product you carry, becomes more difficult to know how to explain them, right? And how to, each cigar is different, the way you cut it, the way you light it. If the cigar has 5 fillers versus 2 fillers, the way you light it is completely different. Completely different, right? Because with 5 fillers, the inner fillers are completely dry because they're protected from humidity. So you have to take the cigar at 45 degrees in order to light it, right? Versus vertically lighted, right?
Yeah.
So it's difficult to teach these things to the average employee of the retailer. And some of your clients are sophisticated, educated, they're intelligent, especially thanks to internet. They learn everything from internet. So when they come to your store and they feel they know more about cigars than you do in your stores, they get turned off from the establishment. And this is why it's so important to partner with the right people that can basically help you, work with you, in order to make sure your retail store is very successful.
So how do we get more women smoking in
Yes.
cigar lounges?
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Actually-
the question I wanted.
Actually, women is the fastest growing segment of U.S. market for cigar smoking.
I love to hear that.
And traditionally, women, they've been turned off with the smell odor of the cigars, of the nicotina plant.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because the cigar smells is bad. Believe it or not, 60% of all the finest perfume made in Paris, they use tobacco component in order to get to oud. Oud is a specific smell with spices that you can put on the cologne perfume. But one thing we learned, that we were the first to learn it in this industry. This industry, remember, is 500 years old. And we've been in it 3 years. And my father wasn't a cigar maker. My grandfather wasn't a cigar maker. So we had to learn all of it ourselves in a very short period of time. In average, God has blessed women that they have an average 50% more sensitivity with their nose and with the taste buds in their mouth. This is why, Josh, when you're wearing your cologne and you go near your wife and your wife says, "Oh my God, you're wearing too much cologne." And you say, "No, honey, I'm not. I'm wearing very little." For you, it's little, but for her, it's too much because she has more sensitive nose. That's why perfume is designed differently than cologne. Perfume is for women, cologne is for men. This was not understood in cigar industry. We introduced it. We educate the cigar industry about it. So what we did, on the leaf that creates significant odor, we minimize them. We introduced Alexandra collection, Cocoa and Maryland, which
Cocoa, right?
exactly, which all of the component of taste are in there. Strength is in there. The only thing is less. The density of smoke is less, and the density of odor is less, so it doesn't overwhelm them. And today, not only the Alexandra collection is one of our best sellers of all of our line, but I see when I go to lounges, also a lot of men smoke Alexandra collection because they like it. Because each person has a different taste buds, different requirement, right? So fastest growing segment of our industry today is women. And I see so many women that I never smoke cigars. They go in a lounge for the first time with their boyfriend, with their husband, with their girlfriends, and they pick up a cigar and they start smoking it. So this is why every year for the past 10 years, more cigars are sold in America than the prior year.
Mm.
And last year we sold close to 500 million sticks of premium cigars. I'm talking about premium cigars, which is a hand roll cigars
Yeah.
in the United States, almost $6 billion industry.
Yeah. No, I really love how you marketed the Alexandria collection, just because, I mean, I think collectively as a whole, the cigar industry can be kind of unapproachable for women. It can be kind of intimidating, especially if you've never smoked a cigar and you don't know anything. But I really like how you guys marketed this line, just because it's approachable for women, but it's not too much to where it's not marketable to men either.
Yeah.
You know,
Also,
it has to be
something else.
marketable to everybody.
Yeah.
And so I really like that, how it's approachable to women, but it's still marketable to everybody.
Also, Hannah, if you smoke a El Septimo cigar, if you're sitting in a room and you smoke 4 or 5 El Septimo cigars by yourself, and you go home and you ask your husband, "Hey, why don't you smell my hair or my jacket? Tell me if I smoke today or not."
Mm.
And if you smell it, he cannot tell if you smoke a cigar.
Mm.
Because a natural tobacco, a natural smoke is not adhesive. That's the scientific meaning of a smoke. It's bounce back. The only time smoke sticks to your clothes, to your hair, to your beard, inside of your mouth, is when there is tremendous amount of pesticides and herbicides used, which is a chemical, and the chemical make it adhesive.
That's
So
why cigarettes,
exactly,
cigarette smoke is so invasive.
because of the chemical, because an average cigarette, there is 600 different kinds of chemical additives that are added. So a cigar, a good cigar, if you smoke El Septimo only, I've been to some lounges that are only sell El Septimo. So only people smoke El Septimo, right? And every person that walks out, we have people that get close to them, welcome and thank them for coming in. And they literally from close distance smell their jacket, smell their shirt. No smell comes on at all. But when you go to the lounges that they carry different brand, because of that pesticides, herbicides in it, creates this adhesive property, it sticks to your clothes. Often when you smoke cigar a lot, people tell you, take your clothes off in the garage. I need to dry clean them. I wear the suit last week. I didn't dry wash it. I'm wearing it today. And because it doesn't smell like tobacco. So that is another significant and scientific improvement that El Septimo has contributed in this industry in a short time we've been in the market.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's
All right, Zaya, I've got the uncomfortable question of the day for you. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I met Narang for the first time this spring.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly became one of my favorite guys.
I love Narang.
Just he's
the best.
he's just and Hannah's known him. Hannah and Jeff have known him a lot longer. Just an extraordinary guy. What is so attractive about El Septimo cigars that these industry people are leaving other companies to join you in your journey?
We have over 400 resumes from sales managers, territory managers.
I know I sent mine in. I never got a call, but that's neither here nor there. But go ahead.
That they come, and I always ask him, Josh. Even Nuran, I ask him, and I also ask Franklin, who came from Rocky Patel, and Mike, who came from Rocky Patel. I asked him. I says, "Hey, what was your interest? Why did you come?" They said, "We came across El Septimo. We smoked one, and we couldn't get enough of it. We kept smoking it, and we figure we got to work for this brand because they have something no one else has, and it's a love of the product. You know, El Septimo is a leaf. The leaf has historical meaning. It goes to biblical time, right? The significance of the leaf and spiritual meaning of the leaf. The Mayans, the Indians who been smoking tobacco for close to 30,000 years. 30,000 years. They initially smoked tobacco to clear their conscience, clear their soul before they pray to the gods. Right?
Yeah.
And we see it in the movies, in the cowboy movies, that the Indians smoking tobacco and doing this, you know, because they're cleaning their soul. They say we have to have a clean soul before we pray to God. So These people come to our company because they love the product. And even Chip Goldman, who was 24 years with Ashton, he started. And he said, the first thing I did, I threw out every cigar I had in my humidor. I filled them with El Septimo. And he smokes 8, 9, 10 a day, right? So it's a love of the product, not the brand. Brand means nothing if the product is not the best.
Yeah.
Product, what it sells, not brand, not name, not advertising, not color of the box, not the beautiful band, is the product. Initially, this wasn't the case because people didn't know how to smoke cigar. But that has changed, as I said earlier, so much in the last 20 years. Sometimes I meet a 25, 26 years old kid smoking cigar, and he schools me on the transition, on taste, on how to smoke it. And thanks to internet and thanks to people like you who do podcasts like this, which is not only entertaining, but it is educational. And this is something's happening in this industry that it doesn't happen in any other industry in the world. And I'm very happy about that.
Zaya, we just had somebody comment on YouTube say that they were so fascinated that they just bought a Salvador Dali, and that's what they're smoking tonight from the Sacred Arts.
Yeah, Salvador Dali is one of my favorite cigars because it has two particular fillers that are very rare. We came across them. If you ever cut our cigars, you see a lot of tobacco that is white. And that white tobacco is very rare tobacco. A tobacco, when you cut through a cigar, a tobacco, you can't tell a tobacco by smelling a cigar, because if you smell the cigar from the wrapper, you can't smell much because we coat these wrappers so the moisture stays in there. So the only time you could really smell the cigar is when you light them. The heat opens up the porosity of the wrapper, and then the smells comes out. So Salvador Dali has a very unique tobacco that gives you a special taste that if you're a cigar smoker, you never tasted them before. And that's what makes him so unique. You know, it's like Forrest Gump. He liked chocolate because when you buy a box of chocolate, it's got so many different kinds of chocolate in it, right?
You never know what you're going to get.
Exactly. Exactly. And Salvador Dali, which is part of the Sacred Art Collection, we designed 7 different brands for 7 days of the week because it took God 7 days to create a heaven and earth. And each cigar there is a cigar for each day of the week. Salvador Dali is for Wednesday, believe it or not. And the reason is because you be smoking Monday, Saturday, Sunday. So Monday you have a lighter cigar, and as you go from Monday to Tuesday, it becomes stronger. And the Sunday one is the strongest of all, right? And the name of the cigar is named after the historical artist who captured that day, biblical day, in a piece of art. And that's how we came up with the name on it.
Wow, that's wild. All right, so my wife and I like to travel. Am I going next to Portugal or France, and why?
Both are beautiful country. El Septimo has hotels in both countries.
Okay.
And a lot of people might not know, Portugal is the second oldest country on the earth after Greece. Lisbon was created before Rome was created. So it's very historical. I love Portugal because of the seaside, because of the people. People are very friendly. They all speak perfect English. And it's very inexpensive in Portugal. Hotels are very inexpensive. The food is very inexpensive. And yet you have all the historical, cultural significance that you can enjoy. France is is unforgettable country. Paris is my favorite city in the world. And I have been in it many times. I still cannot get enough of it. So it's very rich in culture, in history. And you, your wife, and all of the El Septimo customers, they should let me know when they go there. They're going to get a special discounts on the hotel, on the food, and on their cigars. And we have lounges in both Geneva, France, and Portugal. And all these lounges are inside of the hotel. So as you check in, you can go have your own private section, enjoy a smoke.
Zaya, that's so important, because one of the things that is under attack right now, and it's why I'm so active with the Premium Cigar Association, Cigar Rights of America. Our right to go smoke cigars and enjoy cigars is just under attack. My wife and I were just out of the country last month, and twice we had lit up a cigar in public, open area. It happened to be on a beach, and both times we had people come up to us and be like, "Sorry, there's no smoking here. We can't allow that." And so it's important to, first of all, frequent and spend money at these places like yours that allow it and encourage it. And there's something very special that happens over a cigar. And maybe you can talk a little bit about this. Like, cigars don't distinguish race, religion, gender, political affiliations. I have all manner of those in our lounge, and yet we all are choosing to take our disposable income and buy a natural product and light that on fire. What makes the cigar industry? What makes cigar special like that?
Well, let me tell you, when Christopher Columbus discovered Americas
Mhm.
in 1497, I believe it was, he saw Mayans were smoking cigars, right? And then he also saw different tribes in Americas. Americas not necessarily mean America, was all the
Sure.
surrounding country, Mexico and everything. He saw different tribes who were fighting with each other. They would come to make friendship because they were tired of fighting. And the first thing they used to offer each other was tobacco leaf as a sign of friendship. And the second thing they used to do, roll that tobacco, smoke it together. Now, let me tell you something about cigar industry, which, thank God, El Septimo is educating the world, right? When I speak to the Congress people or the FDA, I never forget the first conversation I had with one of the FDA senior executives. And I said, "What is it that you don't like about smoking a cigar?" He said, "Cigar is bad for you." I said, "Why is cigar bad for you?" He said, "Because cigar has nicotine that kills you." I said, "Do you have children?" He said, "Why?" I said, "Do you have children?" He says, "I do. One is 7, one is 10, and one is 13. I said, "If I draw the blood of these children, would I find nicotine traces in their body?" He said, "Absolutely not. They don't smoke. I don't smoke. Nobody smokes in our household." I said, "You're wrong. You will find traces of nicotine in their body almost equivalent to smoking 2 cigars a week." He said, "How's that?" I said, "From tomato, from French fries, potato,
Yeah.
green pepper, eggplant, cauliflower."
Salinicia, that product family, correct?
Not Salacia, it is nightshade.
Oh, is it
Nightshade
nightshade?
family,
Okay.
nightshade. So million of years ago, there was one plant called nightshade. And from that one plant, over a million of years, tomato was spun off, potato was spun off, green pepper was spun off, eggplant was spun off, and nicotine was spun off. The nicotina plant was spun off, tobacco plant, nicotina plant was spun off. And nicotine is not healthy. When you eat a tomato, an average tomato has 0.7 milligram of nicotine on it. Exact same nicotine compound as you find in a natural cigar. Which he didn't know that. This is why nicotine is not addictive. I smoke 10 to 12 cigars a day. But if I don't smoke tomorrow, it's okay. I'm not shaking.
No.
But if I was smoking cigarette, as long as I have been smoking cigar, I would not be able to quit for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes I say 2 days, I'm not going to smoke. I want to see if that's any effect on me. I go 2 days without smoking. That's why smoking a cigar is not addictive. You smoke it whenever you want. And if you don't want, you don't have to smoke it. Your body doesn't demand it. And the second reason is not bad for you, because the same exact nicotine compound you find in cigar, you find it in a red tomato that you eat in your salad, in your pasta, in your pizza, and you feed it to your 3, 4, 5 years old kid. And I think education, that we were the first company in the world, El Septimo was, that issue a 30-page report, and I'd be more than happy to email it to you tomorrow, that shows the health benefit of smoking a cigar. If you Google all of these, you will see what I'm telling you. Smoking a cigar, digesting natural nicotine, prolong prolong the full effectiveness of dementia, Alzheimer's, reduce stroke by 30%, reduce body inflammation by 50%, where today is known body inflammation triggers all the diseases,
Right.
arthritis, sometimes cancer, sometimes Alzheimer's, sometimes autism
Mm.
in the grown up people that have tremendous amount of inflammation inside of the body. So when you educate the market about, and thank God everybody have iPhone, and thank God there is a Google that we could search all these things, so we don't have to debate it. It's there, right? And more people know about this, the more people will know, and obviously more places you can smoke. But in France, in Portugal, are the only two European countries. If you go to Spain, you smoke, people will throw their coffee on you.
Mm.
But I smoke in Paris, south of France. I smoke in Portugal, Lisbon. I smoke on those. Nobody ever tells me anything, obviously. But so it depends where you smoke, right? But it's part of the education, I think. As more we start publishing this report, we start talking about them, people will understand them, and then it would be easier. And that's the reason for the past 15 years, the cigarette sales is dropping globally. And for the same period, last 15 years, the cigar sales has been growing globally. Obviously, there is a reason for that.
Yeah.
So I feel comfortable that premium tobacco is here to stay for a long time. And I feel comfortable if you truly enjoy smoking a cigar, you will be able to do it for a long time.
Yeah. That's great to hear. I'll tell the quick story. Most of the people that are in the lounge here in Idaho know the story, but I got diagnosed with cancer the summer of 2020. And I remember, there's a lot of things that go into that diagnosis and processing and everything. And the first meeting that I had with my oncologist, Dr. Kreisel, I told him, I said, look, I smoke 5 to 8 cigars a day. I own a cigar lounge. It's a big part of what I do. But if I need to give this up today, again, I'm not addicted to it. I'm the same with you as you, Zaya. If I end up going somewhere for a couple days, I don't have a cigar, I'm not shaking, I'm not craving
You're
it.
not jonesing.
I'm not jonesing. And so but I told him, I said, but if I need to give it up, and he looked me right in the eye, my oncologist, and said, Josh, your cancer has nothing to do with this. He's like, your health. He's like, I'm looking at because mine was a blood-borne lymphoma. He said, that originated in my pancreas of all places that you shouldn't be surviving from. But he said, your blood work, beautiful. Your blood pressure, beautiful. He's like, there's nothing. He's like, you got a very, very strange cancer because some things went a little bit wacky, but it has nothing to do with it. He's like, I want you to continue doing it. And so
actually, Josh, smoking a cigar reduces the blood pressure because it relaxes you.
Yes.
The second reason, smoking a cigar, people say, how is it that it helps you with Alzheimer's, with dementia? How is it that help you with inflammation? Explain to me, Zaya, scientifically, how is it? I want to know that, right? A natural nicotine dilates your artery. Your artery is a muscle. The older you get, the tighter it gets. That's why when you get very old, you can have stroke, right? That's why the doctor said, hey, take a 1 baby aspirin a day so your blood is not so viscous, so it can flow easily towards your body so you don't get a stroke, right? When you smoke a cigar, a natural cigar, a good cigar, it dilates your artery. When it dilates your artery, more blood and oxygen flows in your body. That's why when you smoke a cigar, you relax, you calm. Where more blood flows to your body, your inflammation goes down. Because inflammation is caused by restriction of the blood flow into your organs. This is why when you lift weight, suddenly you realize you have a backache, you have a leg ache, right? And why? Because when you lift weight, you put pressure on your joint. When you put pressure on your joints, you squeeze, you pinch your nerve. When you pinch your nerve, you restrict the blood flow in that area. This is why Michael Jordan, years ago, discovered this. And if you watch his documentary, Last Dance, Michael Jordan used to smoke cigar before practice, before game, after practice, after game. And Michael Jordan was one of the greatest athletes, not just a great basketball player, but greatest athletes the world has ever seen. So it's important to Google these things, to educate yourself about this, because there is this. First of all, shame on all the cigar makers in the world, all of them, for not explaining this 100 years ago, 50 years ago. They get together in this PCA. You get the CEO of Padron, CEO of Arthur Fonte, Rocky Patel, get on the podium. They talk for 1 hour. It's all bullshit. They say nothing important. It's important to discuss the main issue. So this is kind of a food. We put it in our mouth. We get it into our blood system. So we know what is it that we are introducing to our body.
Yeah.
Next thing for the ladies, because when you smoke cigar, it dilates your artery. Blood flows, right? Next time before you smoke a cigar, literally rub your face. After that, light a cigar, smoke it halfway, then rub your face again. You will notice your face is oily. One of our skincare company in Germany, Niovi, discovered this for me. Actually, they present me with paper on my birthday, 59th birthday, that smoking a nicotine, smoking a cigar, it open up your pores in your face, in your skin, where the smoke comes in contact, where nicotine comes in contact with your face, and then allow the natural moisturizer from inside of your body comes out to moisturize your face. So I'm 60 years old. If you think I have a good face for a 60 years old man, I need to thank good cigars.
Beautiful. All right. So we're coming up on an hour and we haven't talked about June 1st. So I've got a couple slides. I apologize because they don't do this new Vault Eagle El Septimo Lounge justice. I'm telling you, if you are, I don't even care if you're not in Idaho, if you're around the world and you're free on June 1st, it is incumbent upon you to come on out and experience this for yourself. This was something that we did very deliberately. We worked with a company on the East Coast called Axel and Oak that is specifically focused on experience, and it's the little tiny details that go into their designs that I mean this lounge was built in a strip mall, and I wanted the challenge. The original vault was built in a bank building from 1905, so that's easy to create character and culture and make something amazing. But when you're going into a strip mall and creating what we created there, that's a lot of deliberateness. So let's take a couple looks at the picture. First of all, the humidor. And you're going to see at the bottom there, we did this really clever lit floor with the El Septimo logo. The products are beautifully displayed. We want to make sure the boxes were vibrant, beautiful. When you get to the accessories, and you can see some of the El Septimo accessories that are in there. Zaya, you're a master of color, right? Color evokes emotion. My mom was an interior designer, and you see these colors that explode, and whether it's a lighter, an ashtray, a cutter, there's just something about the accessories that just speak to people, and create a lot of interest and vibe. When we get to the actual lounge, I'm old, right? Zaya and I are way past young and being able to sit in uncomfortable chairs. That's not acceptable for me anymore. So we made the investment to make sure that these chairs had the built-in, holders for glasses for that fantastic wine that you're going to drink, that El Septimo cognac, the Bordeaux, and be able to enjoy that time in the lounge, people serving you. We wanted to make sure that the lighting, and I love natural products. So you can see that wood wall that we did on the back, like that's those natural wood just evokes certain emotions that are really, really important to us. So even in the lounge experience, it's important to be very, very focused. The bar, I'm going to tell you. So when we originally designed the plans, and I apologize for not having a big blown out picture of the bar seats 30 people. And the contractor made it the wrong dimension. So he made it 5 feet wider and 5 feet deeper than the plans originally called for.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I came in the first time after they had already plumbed in everything, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is way too big. We really screwed this up. I will tell you, since it's been completed and we've had our soft openings, my wife has danced on that bar. Other people have danced on that bar.
That's true. I witnessed.
It is unbelievable, and just the richness of being able to congregate and to talk and laugh and enjoy those premium spirits. We take the same kind of care with our humidor that we do with our cocktails, and making sure that we're crafting something that's very, very special, and that I'm not just throwing some Jack and Coke together and providing experience. No, that it's signature. We're pressing our own ginger. We're creating our own syrups. We want to make sure everything that we do is very, very deliberate. So here's what's happening. Grand opening, June 1st. There's the address up there, 228 East Plaza Drive in Eagle. Zaya, I put on 6 p.m. to close, and I'm gonna sell my boy Chip out. So when he came out to visit us a couple weeks ago, we took him over to the lounge. We did a little bar staff training, brought in some of the contractors to thank them. And I will tell you, I left the lounge at midnight. I will tell you that Chip did not leave till much, much later in that evening, and yet was still back in Meridian the next morning at 10 a.m. But so it's 6 to close, because honestly, we are going to enjoy that lounge with Zaya until we're not. If it's 7 in the morning, it's 7 in the morning. I think it's going to be one of the very, very special events that's ever been done in the Treasure Valley. Cigar accessories, I mean, don't worry about that. Raffles. Zaya teased me, and Zaya, I'm going to ask you about this. You had talked about bringing a woman's purse, because you asked me. You said, Josh, do you have women that smoke in your lounge? I said, we do. I said, in fact, when I was in there for Tuesday night when we did our soft opening, I would say that there were probably 16 to 18 women of the 60 people that were in there. Talk to me about this purse. Are we still bringing that on the 1st?
Yeah, the purse design it was designed by our MPA creation in Paris. Often when a couple go out to dinner or go to the lounge, the husband always asks the wife to carry the heavy bag. She says, hey, can you carry my cigars with me? Right? Yes. And she puts the cigars in there with her iPhone, with her keys and everything. And often these cigars get damaged. So I wanted to create a purse, beautiful purse, that has a humidor built in it. So when a husband...
I did not know this.
Yes.
Yeah. So when a husband asks his wife to carry the cigar, or when she carries her own cigars, right, she can put it in a humidor. But I knew it had to be a very beautiful purse, otherwise she wouldn't carry it. So as a hobby, we designed a purse. And last year in Paris fashion show, our purse came second after Hermes, and it beat Louis Vuitton and Dior. Wow. So it's a beautiful place. It's 44-centimeter purse, which is one of the largest purse. Leather, alligators, and everything. And they're designed beautifully. They're very attractive. And they have a built-in humidor, built-in place to put your cutters, your lighter.
And super inexpensive. This is like $20 retail, $30 retail, I'm imagining.
Yeah, well, they go for about $4,000, but I'm sure we can give a couple free to your good customers.
So here's what I'm going to tell you.
I'm a good customer.
You're good. I'm a good. I feel like I'm a good customer. I will tell you what a great opportunity if you were a guy and you want to bring, because one of the things we did is we spent a large sum of money on our air handling system inside of the new lounge. So feel comfortable. We already talked about the whole idea of odor and just El Septimo cigars in general. And I will tell you, be confident. Bring your wife, bring your significant other. When you buy that box of cigars, you're going to be in the raffle, and it's going to be something that you're just not going to be able to get anywhere else. Talk to me just briefly, because we already carry the El Septimo wines, the Bordeaux's, in the lounge currently in Eagle. Those wines, we're going to have those that night, possibly even the cognac. Maybe you want to talk about that, Zaya.
Yeah, I'm going to bring a bottle of 240 years old cognac, and we will drink it together. And it is a cognac that we call Black Pearl. It is aged so much that it turns to completely black, been in barrel for so long. Wow. And we introduced this in PCA, and the first bottle was sold for $1.5 million in PCA.
Wow.
It's the finest cognac in the world. El Septimo, we believe when we enter the industry, when we enter the market, we don't want to be one of the best. We don't want to be number 3. We don't want to be number 2. We're not interested. We get bored. If we are number 2 in any industry, we're going to get out of that industry. We want to be number 1. That's the only thing that pleases me personally. Nothing else pleases me. So our cigars are the best in the world. The growth shows that. Our accessories are the best in the world. We were the first people in the world to design the most luxurious lighter. When we introduced our light and PCA show, ST DuPont chairman, Alain Grives, came to me and he said, Mr. Younan, how long did it take you to design and build this lighter? And remember, ST DuPont invented the lighter 98 years ago. They invented the first lighter. I said, it took us 6 months to design and build this lighter. He
Talking
said,
about this
no,
one?
no, no, I'm talking about a $5.5 million lighter.
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
not this one.
And I'm going to bring one with us to light people's cigars with $5.5 million lighter.
Nice.
So he said, in 6 months, you erase 97 years of our history and heritage. So today, when you Google world most luxurious lighter, El Septimo comes number one. So we are passionate about making the best product, not about selling, not about naming our brand and having an ego about who we are. We are as good as tomorrow, not as good as who we are today, not as good as yesterday, as good as tomorrow. So we will continue to invent, to develop so much. We have invented and developed so many different cigars and so many different accessories that has not done by all the brands in the last 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I believe it.
So Zaya, and I mean this. I'm going to say it multiple times when you come out June 1. Idaho is not on the way to anywhere. There have been very, very few principal brand owners that have come to Idaho. I can count them on one hand. And I tell people that I'm not disappointed in that, because we're not on the way to anywhere. Like the Pacific Northwest is not a cigar mecca per se, even though I'm personally trying to make it. So, but
you are on the way to my heart.
Look,
Idaho, God bless Idaho, God bless Eagle. I have introduced cigars in Congo, Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, one thing I'm going to announce for the first time here on your show has not been announced. We are going to introduce this PCA as part of our Emperor collection, the first Empress collection. A woman who was an emperor, means king reported to her.
Wow.
This cigar is designed to celebrate Black history and a Black culture.
Wow.
And the design is named after Queen Sheba. Queen Sheba is the first queen that is mentioned in Bible. She lived 900 years before birth of Christ.
Wow.
She was a queen of Ethiopia, which is part of Africa. And she was known to be one of the wealthiest, the best ruler in the world during that period. And we are designing a cigar after her that we're going to introduce in this PCA. And majority of the proceeds from the sales goes to African American University and educating African American who do not have the necessary fund to attend the best universities in the United States.
Fantastic.
So we're going to bring some sample of those cigars for you guys to try.
Oh, you're
Can't
making
wait.
my day. So everybody out there, and I love all the comments coming in. It's a 14-hour drive. I don't think Zaya's driving. I could be wrong about that. I think that he might jump in a plane to actually come up and visit us. But please, you do not want to miss out on a chance to spend some time with this gentleman. I've never spoken to a billionaire one-on-one, but I will tell you, I have found every conversation to be so much fun. And here's what I'm going to tell you about, and I'm going to sell out Zaya a little bit here. But the first time we had a Zoom call together, he was asking me about Cigar Don Williams. He's like, "You are so funny." He's like, "You look just like a young JFK." And that's not a casual thing. That's somebody that is running a $6 billion investment fund that took time to watch a 5-minute hee-haw video of Cigar Don Williams, a fictional character, doesn't even exist. And he wasn't just watching it. He took a piece of information from it and then use that in a conversation with me. And I just think that's the kind of guy Zaya is. It's gonna be a ton of fun. I've enjoyed the relationship, Zaya. We're gonna do a lot of work, not just for the vault, for the industry, to really change things. And Zaya is much like me. I'm actually doing a Zoom call with a retailer in Arizona next week that had watched what I was doing with the Eagle location and wanted his staff and his leadership team to meet with me to help them with their location. And I said, I'm all in. I'll take time out of my day. And I just think that's the way Zaya's wired. It's the way I'm wired. I want the cigar industry. The vault will always be great, but I want the industry to continue to thrive. And I want to see more of these kind of experiences so that as I'm seeing this great country and spending time, I've got locations for my wife and I to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Zaya, you're amazing.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Truly, your cigar lounges are magnificent. It's amazing the way you design them, the way the layout is. They're rich, they're comfortable. I can't wait to come there, smoke there, and meet all the good people that will be there. I love you all. God bless you all. Keep up the good work. And remember, cigars are not bad for you. Yes. And whoever said they are, have them Google tomato.
Zaya, send me the document. We'll make sure that we share it on all of our website and everything like that on the health benefits. I think people need to read that. Yes. I think that's a big point.
Absolutely.
Hannah, you're fantastic.
Thank you.
Any closing thoughts for young Zaya here?
No, I'm glad to have you on the show. Thank you for taking the time to spend this hour plus with us. And I'm really looking forward to the event on June 1st.
Fantastic, my friend. Well, listen, hey, God bless everybody that's watching this. I love you. Can't wait to see you, and wish everybody the best. Take care.
Thank you.